All right. Now let's have a look at question 2a. And it is the first question of tutorial 2. So they say to you, we have 30,000 BBL, that's for barrels, of oil is spilled into the sea. According to a newspaper article, this led to an oil slick that is 2 miles long, half a mile wide, and 25 millimeters thick. So the question is the newspaper report correct? So the first thing I'm going to do is convert the oil that was actually spilled into a unit that I understand. And then I'm going to convert the dimensions of what the newspaper reported. And then we're going to compare the two dimensions and see if they are equal. Okay, so let's begin. Let me just plug in my pencil and paper, or my stylus and trackpad. All right, so now we can begin. So they tell you, all right, we've got 30,000 barrels. So I always want to start there, and I want to make it a unit that I understand. Okay, so 30,000, and now you can see why it's so important to have your conversions down pat, because when you get to a calculation like this, you must just be able to smash out all the calculations, all the conversions very easily. So we've got 30,000 barrels, and remember, I want barrels at the bottom so that barrels at the top cancels with barrels at the bottom. And I know that one barrel is 42 US gallons. All right. But remember, I want this to be a unit that I can use. So US gallons, I'm not too comfortable with. So I'm going to write US gallons at the bottom, because again, gallons at the top cancels with gallons at the bottom. And I know that 1 US gallon is 3.785 liters. Now I'm in a bit more comfortable territory because I understand the unit liters. I can visualize what that means. So after canceling out all my units, I'm left with just liters at the top. And so if you put this into your calculator, you should get 4,769,000 liters of oil that was actually spilled. And so because this is my actual amount of oil spilled, I'm just going to take out my highlighter and draw a box around this. So I know that this is the first half of the question I was solving. Okay, 4,769,100 liters of oil that was actually spilled. Okay, so I'll put down over here actual, so that, and I'll highlight it so that it's a bit easier. If someone had to mark my work, it's a bit easier. All right, so this is actual. Now let's go down, and I'm going to write newspaper, and then let's begin. So I'm going to scroll up a bit, and it says the oil slick was 2 miles long. So I'm going to write down length would be 2 miles. Okay, they told me that the width was half a mile. Okay, so that's 0.5 miles, and the thickness was 25 millimeters. So do you agree, if you've got the length, you've got the width, and you've got the thickness, that is the perfect recipe for calculating volume? And if you can calculate volume, because volume is just length times width times thickness, then if you can calculate volume, you can get a liter amount. And then you can compare the liter amount in the newspaper to the liter amount in real life and see if they are equal. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So first, I'm going to sort out the length. The length is in 2 miles. Again, miles doesn't mean that much to me, so I'm going to convert it to a unit that I understand, which is liters. So I've got 2 miles, all right? And again, you are a ninja at the ladder conversion after our first tutorial, so this shouldn't be too difficult. Now, I've got miles at the top, so I'm going to write miles at the bottom, and at the top, I'm going to write meters. Okay, so I know that 1 mile is 1,609 meters. All right. So once I've got miles canceling with miles, let me just undo that. Remember, I like to cancel in red pen. Okay, So once we convert the miles out and we get meters, we are pretty much done. Okay, so this 2 miles becomes 3,218 meters. Done. Okay, let's talk about the width. So the width of this was half a mile wide. Remember? So this is 0.5 miles. And remember that 1 mile is simply 1,609 meters. And so that is going to equal to 804.5 meters. And you can double check, cancel the units, and I'm only left with meters. Now let's sort out this thickness. Okay, here might be a bit strange because you've got 25 millimeters, right? So you're not, I don't know. I feel like it's not necessary to use the ladder method to convert millimeters. But if we just go up, here's our thickness of 25 millimeters. So we've got 25 millimeters. And remember, just to help you, I mean, the prefix is already in the milli, so you know how many meters this is. But just in case you get confused during a test, remember that 1 millimeter is the same as 1, and milli is the same thing as times 10 to the minus 3 meters. So all this ends up being is 25 times 10 to the minus 3 meters. All right, so now that we've got all of this, let's proceed. So we know the basic recipe for volume is length times breadth or width times height or thickness in this case. So if I have a look at my calculation here, that should give me 64,722,025. And because we've got meter times a meter times a meter, that becomes cubic meters. All right, now I want you to remember the story about the 1,000 liters of milk. So, so let's convert this. And I'll do this in red pen so you can see where the changes are coming in. Remember that 1 cubic meter is exactly the same as 1,000 liters of milk. And so when you do this conversion, that becomes 64,722,025 liters of oil. Let's have a look at this, right? In actuality, we spilled 4 million liters of oil. All right. In the newspaper, it says that I spilled 64 million liters of oil. So no surprises there. The newspaper always makes things seem way worse than they actually are because bad news sells, right? But you can see we only spilled 4 million liters. The newspaper reports 64 million liters. So that's the extra 60 million liters that they reported. Okay, and basically they asked, is the newspaper correct? And you can say, therefore, newspaper not correct. All right, so I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and let's move on to the next question.